How are you, Dominators? It's time to update. Now, even me finally reached the last current age in the game, the Cold War age. Now Nexon decided to release the Space Age within the close future. Here we have the new Space Age logo of DomiNations. Let's jump right into the patch notes. Version 7.0, the Space Age. The Space Age. Research 4 new techs at the library. Level 13, microprocessor, archaeology, anti-aircraft and offensive ballistics. Here we have microprocessor research. First, reduces library research time by 15%. It's pretty useful, it's okay, but let's be honest, in the library there is not our focus to research. The library is pretty fast done for each player at each age if you are playing active. Chapter 2 reduces artifact upgrade time by 10%. That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, I personally am upgrading my artifacts that much scarcely, so not that often, due to the fact that I simply do not have enough resources to upgrade it. I would like to, but I'm not able simply. Chapter 3 reduces troop training time by 10%, and that is pretty okay. Probably this is also a secret or an implicit hint that we will get additional troop capacity within the Space Age. Chapter 4 reduces armory research time by 5%. That is pretty cool, and you are able to recognize how much impacting the new updates or upgrades from our library researches are by looking at the percentages. So at the armory and at the university, research time reductions are very useful and impacting, and therefore you are only able to research 5 little percent. If you are now looking at the library, which is definitely not very impacting to all players because it is easy to do for each player, then you get 15%. So the lower the percentages are, you are able to earn, the more impacting they are, obviously. Next chapter we have archaeology. Chapter 1, +5 museum storage. That's really great. My museum is completely full and I'm not even able to produce 5 more of the artifacts. Chapter 2, +10% mysterious fragments production capacity. Also pretty useful due to the fact that currently when the museum has produced its maximum amount and it is completely filled, it will stop producing new mysterious fragments. Now you have 10% more time to wait. Chapter 3, additional 5% museum storage, I really appreciate. Chapter 4, +10% more blueprints when selling an artifact. Also useful. Chapter 5, 5% chance to craft a 3-star artifact when crafting. Currently we are only able to get 2-star artifacts. The next research, anti-aircraft. What is pretty astonishing, we will get a new and an additional chapter for our anti-air defense because we already had one. I think it was in the global age. So we get +10% SAM battery damage, +1 SAM battery range, so for all of our current traps, +1 SAM battery, +10% air defense damage, and +1 air defense. So in total, let's remind ourselves that we will have in the end 5 pretty strong Space Age air defenses with more damage. We have more traps and the traps have more range. So very strong upgrade against enemy planes. But this is this has a very strong purpose, and we will later on see this purpose. At least we have the research offensive ballistics. We will be able to upgrade our missile silo, and we will talking about this later in detail, to a new stage, and with this new stage we get an offensive function for our missile silo to use in battle. First chapter reduces missile silo upgrade cost by 15%. Second, offensive missile launch damage increased by 20%. Third chapter, offensive missile launched cooldown reduced by 50%. Here is again the same rule of thumb which we had previously. We will get with only one research a 50% cut down of the cooldown time for our offensive missile silo, and this most obviously means that the complete cooldown time should be very long if they are okay with cutting it by its half only with one research. So if this offensive missile launch cooldown reduction would be only 5%, I think the origin or the initial value of cooldown would be already pretty small. Now, Chapter 4 reduces oil cost to rearm the offensive missile silo by 25%. Here we have an implicit hint in it, because we have to arm our missile silo similar to our bunkers in defense when they spit out heavy tanks and this heavy tanks got destroyed. We will talk about later on about the missile silos, but over here we can see the fill level, and this is already a hint. We will need approximately around 1000 oil if you have done the research less to fill our missile silo and get the offensive function for one battle. At least we get Chapter 5, Offensive Missile Silo plus 1 target. Also another implicit hint, the missile silo in its offensive function will be able to shoot at more than one target. Next patch note, employ the services of new mercenaries. The Soldier of Fortune, the 2K12 Cup and Heavy Tank Destroyer can be hired at the mercenary camp level 12. Here we have the 2K12 Cup. It's a resource raiding vehicle, or most obviously, so it's substituting our current raiders. And so far I could not see any very positive aspect about. So most obviously these resource raiding mercenary will be similar to others from lower ages, pretty much unused by active players. But next we have the Heavy Tank Destroyer, and that's pretty interesting because the tank destroyers from the Atomic Age already were and still are in the Cold War Age very, very popular because most players are playing them. Most obviously, at least in my case, because of the favorite targets characteristic of any. So they are not only going for defense buildings, they are killing all buildings within the range, what makes them very, very useful. And I also think this Heavy Tank Destroyers will be pretty popular among us players. At least we have the Soldier of Fortune, and now it's getting pretty interesting due to the fact this is only an infanterist. Yeah, okay, so there's not much range, but we will get the first infanterist with sneaky attitudes, which means this sneaky unit will not being shot by enemy defensive buildings, so towers, mortars, cannon towers. Only defenders will be a threat to them, so probably in commando attacks. I'm not pretty sure, but in some cases they could be pretty useful to use in a very special manner. Next patch note. Generals can now be upgraded to level 70 and construct one of our 4 new wonders: the Lotus Temple, the World Fair Unisphere, the Very Large Array, and the Space Shuttle. As it has been always, each second age you will be able to get a new world wonder, and in the Cold War Age there was none, so most obviously we will get new world wonders in the Space Age. Here we have all of the world wonders. First, the Lotus Temple grants a bonus to resource generation once per day. These effects are stronger under a peace treaty. Let's be honest, this is my personal opinion, no one has to share, but it sounds like very, very unspectacular, and this would be one of the least world wonders I would choose, especially currently, where raiding has never been so easy like now. Next we have the World Fair Unisphere. Generates rubies once per day, that is pretty cool, but we have to see how many rubies, and deploys your highest level defensive coalition army when destroyed on defense. This could have some kind of manner in World War as well as in multiplayer, but personally for me it has not a big impact. Then we have the Very Large Array. Reduces rally cooldown and allows you to collect a research or building speed up once per week. This sounds very, very interesting. We have to see how high or what quality the research or building speed up once per week has, because once per week is not very often, so it should be a very high, so probably 1 day, 12 hours, probably even more than 1 day speed up. Otherwise the rally cooldown sounds pretty okay, but simply only the rally cooldown and a low level research or building speed up is not worth for me personally. At least we have the Space Shuttle, and the Space Shuttle let us collect a satellite scan tactic once per day that disables enemy traps. We will have later on detailed information, and also a screenshot about the satellite scan, and so far I can already spoil it to you. In my opinion, for most active, especially World War players, the satellite scan, similar to the Blitzkrieg from the Brandenburg Gate, as well as the Strength of the Gladiator from the Colosseum, will be most impacting and a game breaker. The next patch note. New functionality, offensive missile silo. Beginning at level 6, your missile silo can now be armed with oil. 1000, we have already talked about. Launch missiles at your enemies while attacking their base. Here we have the new stage of the missile silo level 6. We will get the offensive tactic big red button, which sounds pretty funny, and the fill level, which we have to gain before attacking, of 1000. Here we have the statistics of our new missile silo. And that is how it will look when the missile silo actually has its offensive function armed and you are getting into battle. The missile silo now, in offensive function, will work pretty randomly. So if you are gaining or getting to an enemy, it will scan the enemy base and on random purpose search out enemy buildings. So over here you can see two different attacks. First, it targets an airstrip, which is completely random, a storehouse, and a barrack, I think. So no buildings which are at all harmful for your troops or in a big manner useful to get destroyed in an attack. At another attack, we saw targeting an airstrip, the Colosseum, and a bunker, which would be in some cases better, but it's in every attack some kind of gambling and seeing whether you get good targets to attack or whether they are only bad. New university leader, Sally Wright. Research has skill tree at the university to improve your domination bonus, troop donation, factory units, and assault rally. Harness the power of her capstone missile command, which increases the offensive missile silo reticles by 2. Upgrade university to level 8 in order to research all of Sally's skill tree. Here we have our Sally and her researches. Heroic machine gun damage. For me personally, and I think for most other players also, pretty unspectacular and not useful. Domination oil bonus. This is pretty useful because you will get more oil for bases which are higher level if you destruct them with more stars. Factory hit points. Not that useful because you are only strengthening the hit points of the building. Heroic commando hit points. That's pretty interesting, in my opinion, especially currently where the patch notes or where the balance update generates that much advantage to our commandos. Then we have also, which is pretty interesting, Alliance Gate troop capacity. And we have another screenshot over here. Increases donated troops cap by 5 per skill level research. Now the question is, how many skill level researches we will have? So, for example, will we have only 3, which would increase our donated troops cap by 15, which is very, very a lot. So even 2 times being able to research the alliance troop capacity would grant us a bonus of 10, which is nearly the amount of 3 times upgrading our alliance gate in ordinary race. At least we have also heavy tank MK6 spawns machine gunners when getting destroyed. So when our heavy tanks in attack are getting destroyed, oh, I don't know. Do they mean in offensive way or in defensive way? So far, I'm not pretty sure whether they mean our offense or defense heavy tanks. But when they are getting destroyed, they will produce machine gunners, which are suppressing enemies and are pretty pain in the ass if they are suppressing our troops or enemy troops. So let's see whether this is meant in offensive or defensive manner. Sally Wright also provides us with Armored Car MK5 damage, where ironically it shows an APC and not an Armored Car, but I think they mean Armored Cars. So this could be pretty interesting. We will have to see whether this is only offense or defense manner. Especially in Worldwar, I think, because Armored Car are a pain in the ass, especially if they are used in defensive manner. We get Assault Rally speed increase, and this speed increase regards to the movement speed, not the attack speed. Then we get APC MK3 hit points and Tactical Helicopter hit points. Oh, that was one too far. Next patch notes, the second airstrip. Similar to the factory, this additional building will let you QQ air units twice as fast. Increase your air force with additional air capacity. Begin construction of the second airstrip in the atomic age. So we get very valuable information over here because they will provide us with a second airstrip, and the second airstrip will be available backwards already. So if the patch has been implemented, already atomic age players will get a second airstrip. So this will be pretty game changing due to the fact that the second airstrip, same as second barracks, second barracks and second factories, will first cut down our air units training time, and in second manner they will also the second airstrip will also increase our air units capacity. And if we are now calculating it down, the ordinary airstrips can provide us with 3 additional air units by only simply building and upgrading it. The 4th air unit you are getting by the library research, and the 5th one by the Emilia Earhart research capstone at the university. So if we are now calculating through, for active players which have researched anything, it should be an cap or a maximum amount of trained air units by about 8 in future, which is really, really a lot. So we are getting new air units, and we are probably getting 8 in numbers. So let's remind ourselves to the research from the library anti-aircraft, where we talked about we will get a huge bonus and a huge boost to our anti-aircraft, so to our defense against air units. And here we have the purpose I already talked about. We will get a huge bonus in offense for our air units, and therefore also we need a huge bonus to our defense. But also in the Twitch stream they talked about, they did not show any explicit statistics, but they talked about that fighter planes as well as bombers will have a slightly penalty or a decrease in their attack strength. So the fighter planes should not be ongoing that strong as they are currently, I think, and the bombers will have less damage, but you can use them more often. So probably they are flying faster. And here we have the picture regarding the concern we already talked about, because you can see air capacity after training is already 6, but this is an airstrip which is pretty low level, therefore you cannot build any transports. You have to upgrade it fully to get at both airstrips all units to train available. At least we have also the museum improvements. Sell unwanted artifacts as soon as they are crafted, which is pretty okay. Artifacts and their boosts are color-coded by their power, and equip more legendary artifacts with this addition of a 3rd slot. Here we have the regarding pictures. Making an additional slot for legendary artifacts is pretty pointless and another pay-to-win factor, because legendary artifacts are very, very, very rare, and most of us, which are not paying for them, should have not all of their spaces filled. So this is a fact or an implementation which is not so positive for me personally. Here we have the new look of the artifacts when they are getting crafted. If you have the normal bonus of about +1, you will get only white color. If you have +3 in Worldwar and +6 in multiplayer, you get green color. And if you have the highest bonus of about 6 in Worldwar and 11 in multiplayer, you will get blueprint. Regarding to the new tactic, which we are able to collect from our space shuttle World Wanderer, here we have the satellite scan and its range. The range of the satellite scan should be about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, approximately 6, which is considerably useful to get all traps within its range visible and also deactivated. We forgot about one fact. If you are researching the capstone of Sally Ride, you will be able to get 2 additional targets or shots for your offensive missile silo. So in total it should be 4 with the research from the library. Here we have some additional balance changes, which I already mentioned. The SAM battery will deal more damage at level 4 and above, do more damage with your atomic and Cold War level air defenses, so also for lower ages they will increase the air defense power because we will also get more troop capacity for our air units in lower levels, in lower ages. Fighters will be slightly weaker all around, hit points, damage, building suppression. Here is what I tried to explain you previously with my own words from the Twitch stream. Bombers will be able to go on more runs, so probably because they are flying and returning faster, able to sustain more hits but do less damage. So their hit points will increase, I think, but the damage will decrease probably in relation to lower ages, which they are so currently, and you can now construct more walls per age. So pretty interesting. The last fact, because let's see how many additional walls they will give us. Here we also have some bug fixes and improvements. If you are pretty interested in, just read them. I personally nearly never recognize them getting better or worse, so I will not read them out and go through them all for now. Hopefully this video informed you. If you have any suggestions or opinions, write it down below and send it in the comment section. We see us soon. Your DomiNation tips.